Hello and welcome to Frontline Conversations. Today our special guest is Lieutenant General Hooda, one of India's most respected military voices. With General Hooda, we discuss a debate that sits at the heart of military professionalism and secularism. In India, soldiers come from different faiths and backgrounds, and yet they are expected to function as a team in the toughest situations imaginable. How should personal faith and professional duty coexist in uniform? How does that actually function in practice? And what does faith mean in an institution where life, death, and loyalty are everyday reality? We explore these questions with Mr. Hooda, not through policy, but through experience. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Before we dive into the core issues, I would like to know your perspective on recent Supreme Court judgment in Lieutenant Sam Kamleshan's case, and what is the most significant principle that the court has reinforced with regard to faith in uniform.
Ashutosh, regarding Lieutenant Kamleshan's case, I think the Supreme Court ruling is something that we who have served in the military, serving officers, those who have retired, it is something that we very instinctively understand. That your personal faith, cannot be permitted to create a distance between the officers and his troops. So if you ask me how I look at it, I look at it not as a matter of religious freedom or religious faith, but the larger issue of trust between an officer and a soldier. Look, when we look at the military, the officers occupy a very sort of special place in the hierarchy. They are leaders. They are expected to set standards. They're expected to set values and ethos. And anything that could dilute the trust between an officer and a soldier is something that must be completely discouraged. So I think the Supreme Court ruling has sort of reaffirmed this.
Sir, for people who are outside the military, how would you explain the significance and the sanctity of places of worship inside army units?
Look, so let me just say, I think going back to the Supreme Court ruling, I think there are three aspects which need to be sort of understood. One is that in the military, faith is personal, and any visible assertion of your personal faith, trying to override institutional rituals, for example, that I will not attend, a prayer meeting or something like that. That is completely discouraged. We also need to understand, I think, that the military has its very distinctive set of values. When we talk about loyalty, we talk about discipline, we talk about comradeship, we talk about instant obedience. These are not something, Ashutosh, which we can say, look, these sound morally desirable. These are nice to have qualities. These qualities are absolutely essential for military functioning. If these values are not there, I mean, will the army function if there is no obedience, if there is no loyalty, if there is no comradeship? And therefore, these cannot be overridden on personal issues like these are my religious freedoms. And I think also when you read about Kamleshan's case and arguments favoring him, they talk about personal conscience. And how can personal conscience, be overridden by orders, etc. But I think we need to be careful in this argument, Ashutosh. What is conscience? Conscience is, it has a moral element. It is, this is right and this is wrong. Morally right and wrong. Now, if you're going to start equating conscience with religious dogmas, I have so much religious rigidity that I refuse to attend functions with my troops. Then it would be absolutely incorrect. It would actually affect efficient functioning of the military. And so I think these are things that we need to keep at the back of our mind when we look at, you know, the Kamlesan judgment and why the military community as a whole has come out in favor of the Supreme Court ruling and judgment.
In your experience, what are the core secular values that hold a diverse military together?
So one, of course, Ashutosh, is the fact that, you know, all religions must be treated equally. I mean, the reason why we have this concept of Sarv Dharm Sthal is that under one roof, you will find Guru Granth Sahib, you will find, Ram's Murti, you will find a Buddhist statue, you will find pictures of a holy mosque, you will find, Christian symbols all together under one roof. The idea is to tell everyone that, look, you can enter the space, you can enter the sacred space. And entering this sacred space means you are displaying equal respect to every religion. It does not mean your own religion is getting diluted. I mean, your personal faith is your personal faith. But your personal faith can also coexist with the faith of other communities and other religions. That's the big signal, I think, that the army sends out. Ashutosh, I remember when I joined as a young officer, the first thing that was told to me was, look, your religion is the religion of your troops.
Right.
It isn't, and that doesn't mean that I have to give away my faith. I mean, I'm from a Gurkha regiment, and I've seen Christian officers, Sikh officers in the unit. When a Christian officer goes to a mandir and performs a puja, he's not discarding his own faith. We've had images of Maulvis and Pujaris performing Havan together. That doesn't mean the Maulvi has given up his own religion. So I think we need to look at it from that perspective of the respect that it brings to each other's religion, the bonding that happens.
I would certainly like you to share some anecdotes with us. But before that, I would like to ask you a related question. We were talking about secular values that hold a diverse military together, and my question is: are these values tested by uh, the societal polarization?
So Ashutosh, certainly, I mean, what we are seeing in society today is sort of, I have no doubt in saying that there is a greater polarization that is happening on religious grounds, and obviously the soldiers all come from the society, and therefore they cannot be immune to it. Which is why, Ashutosh, that the military doubles down on its system of values. That, look, these are primary core values and core ethos that must be followed by every soldier, so that these become primary, and whatever effect of religious polarization is there is gradually over the time, over a period, is completely reduced. Ashutosh, in civil workplace, we talk about collaboration. Collaboration is important. Everybody needs to work together. In the military, yes, collaboration is important, but we actually go beyond collaboration to trust. That soldiers must have implicit trust in each other. And so if you see your comrade who is in danger, well, you don't at that time think, oh, whether he's a Hindu or he's a Muslim or he's a Sikh or he's a Christian. He's your comrade. He trusts you. And therefore you go to his help and assistance. Which is why I'm also saying this trust between the officer and the soldier is absolutely essential. And so we need to double down, seeing what is happening in society. I think as a military, we need to double down on our values. We need to reinforce them on a daily basis. Because any dilution of this, Ashutosh, is going to reflect on our professionalism. And we don't want an army which is, lacking in professionalism or lacking in its duties. We call it the last resort of a nation. And so we need to make sure that none of these values and qualities are diluted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for explaining it. Ideally speaking, how should forces handle situations where a personal belief or personal faith seem to collide with institutional unity or duty?
So actually, I'm going to be a little harsh here. Don't mind my
Please,
saying this,
go
but
ahead, sir.
yeah, as I said, we need to clearly clamp down on this. Look, Ashutosh, why is the army called an institution and not an organization? It's called an institution, Ashutosh, because institutions rely solely and on their values of the institution. The Supreme Court is an institution. Tomorrow, you can't say that a judge will turn around and say, "Look, my religious, values are conflicting with the values that I'm supposed to follow." This will completely dilute the institution. So, any such issues, well, if we can handle them with maturity, is fine. Uh, but if somebody sort of insists that these are my personal values, they are clashing with what you think, then I think he needs to leave the institution. Please find a better job somewhere else. So as I said, I may sound a little harsh, but uh, this is something that I believe firmly that we should completely discourage.
Thank you. With your permission, if you allow me, I would like to give you a hypothetical situation. I would like to ask
Sure.
you a question.
Sure.
Suppose you are in service and a young officer comes to you and he tells you that he is uncomfortable with a certain ritual in the army. How would you guide him? What would be your approach if he is uncomfortable with a certain ritual that is outside his own faith?
So Ahitosh, I would try and sort of explain to him that by participating, for example, in some other religious functions, it does not mean that you are discarding your own religion. I I have seen Muslim officers going to mandars. They are not excommunicated from their own religion. I have seen Hindu officers going to churches, going to mosques, going to gurdwaras. Does that mean they become lesser Hindu? So I think I will try and explain to him that really participating in other religious functions that you may be uncomfortable with doesn't mean that you are sort of giving up your own faith, but just displaying respect or other religions. Uh, as officers, Ashutosh, we swear an oath towards the Constitution. We don't swear an oath that we are going to faithfully serve the government or any ideology or any political party. The officer's oath, when he is commissioned, says that we will serve the Constitution. And what does the Constitution tell us? Constitution tells us that secularism is an essential and integral part of our way of life. I will also try and explain to him that his actions could actually be damaging to the ethos and culture and values that the military sort of promotes. And this has a larger impact. Just imagine, look, a majority of our officers are Hindu, Ashutosh. If these people say, so somebody who's serving in a Naga regiment, which is mostly Christian, if they start saying we are not going to go to a church, or officers commanding a Sikh regiment, Sikh troops say we won't go to a Gurdwara. We don't want to, frankly, Ashutosh, open up this Pandora's box because we just don't know where it will go then.
Right. My next question, sir, from global militaries, are there any examples about balancing personal conscience with organizational discipline? Can you cite a few examples? If yes, are there any lessons that we can learn?
So, Ashutosh, let me before I come to examples from others, let's go back to pre-independence India, where officers were all British and soldiers were all Indian.
Right.
Were these British officers not participating in religious functions? I'm from a Gurkha regiment. British officers very gladly, attending the Sera functions and those religious functions. Similarly, with officers commanding Sikh troops or Jat troops. So, and these are mainly Christian officers. So, uh, this argument that religions are different and therefore participation is somewhat uncomfortable is actually not true. On the issue of comparison with other militaries, Ashutosh, other militaries give greater individual religious freedom to their officers. But we should also understand that the structure of the Indian Army is very unique. So, in other militaries, you will not find, say, single caste regiments or mixed caste regiments. So we have, as I said, Nagas with mainly Christians. You have Jammu and Kashmir light infantry or Jammu and Kashmir rifles, which are predominantly Muslims. There are units, Ashutosh, which have a composition like one company will be Sikh, one company will be Jat, one company will be Muslim. So we have a very unique sort of structure in the at least in the Indian Army,
Right.
not so much in the Air Force and Navy. So I think any direct application also of practices that are followed abroad uh, would not be appropriate for the Indian Army. Plus, I don't see this kind of cultural religious diversity in any military, just as we have in India. And therefore, we have to find Ashutosh, our own ways, our own processes to make sure, as I said, the culture and ethos is not diluted and professionalism remains high.
Right. Right. So during your service, sir, what have multi-faith traditions in army taught you about military leadership that is required for a diverse military?
Look, I think what it has taught me is that equal respect uh, for all faiths uh, is the way forward. When you put on a uniform, uh, you become a soldier. When we say, we are the brotherhood of the military, we are all brothers in arms, it means that relationship of two soldiers in uniform is more important than what his faith is. It is also visibly, shown in. So, for example, in a passing out parade of recruits of different religions, you will find when the oath is read out, you will find a priest, uh, a pandit, a maulvi, a granthi, all walking ahead of the parade with their religious books in their hand. When we inaugurate some important places, or for example, a war memorial, etc., you will find prayers read out by all religions before the inauguration takes place. Uh, and frankly, this uh, this aspect of trusting each other, uh, soldier to soldier, rather than saying which religion you are from, is something that really bonds, the military together. Let me give you one story. So,
Yes.
Lance Naik Goswami was a special forces soldier who was awarded Ashok Chakra, which is the highest gallantry award. And the reason was because his patrol had got caught in an ambush, and the two leading soldiers, fired upon by terrorists, were very seriously injured. Goswami immediately rushed into the ambush site, rescued both the soldiers, and in rescuing those soldiers, he himself was killed and awarded the Ashok Chakra. He was not given an order that you please go and rescue these people. At that stage, he didn't think what religion you belong to, what caste you are.
Right.
And these are my comrades, these are my soldiers. That is the main thing that sort of drives, as I said, professionalism and work of soldiers.
Right. And finally, sir, looking ahead, what steps do you think are important for preserving military's integrity and neutrality?
So I would say, as I said, uh, what is it that is distinctive about the military? what is it that has served us well? And what has served us well is the current ethos, the current culture in the army, which, as I said, promotes secularism, looks at each other uh, with a great deal of confidence and trust. Uh, Values like honor, loyalty, obedience, courage, comradeship. Uh, if we can keep these values intact, that would I think be a primary element of how we retain what we are today in the military. And secondly, Ashutosh, I have also no hesitation in saying this, that some symbolic pictures that we are seeing of officers, performing their faith, and pictures being posted out on social media. So there is no bar on visiting religious places, but there is no reason for these pictures to be out on media. Uh, any sort of display uh, which sort of creates an impression that we are preferring one religion over another. This ultimately, I think, needs to be questioned and could be damaging. So uh, there is an order. In fact, if you look at 2024, the army came out with an order saying, in uniform, uh, items of your faith should not be visible. When you are in uniform, you can't have a tilak on on your forehead. You can't have a religious thread around your neck. If you want to wear it, it has to be tucked inside. So no visible display of any sort of religiosity when you are in uniform. I think these are something that we need to reinforce.
Thank you so much for your insightful comments, sir. Thank you for your time. It was pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. My pleasure. All the best.